Overlord Ketsan sat on his command throne aboard the Eternal Dominion. The ship was the largest in his fleet. It was 3 kilometers long. It had weapons that could burn entire continents. It had shields that could stop any attack. For 200 years, Ketsan had used this ship to conquer world after world. He had never lost a battle. He watched the human message again. The old man with gray hair, the one who called himself Admiral Morrison. Ketsan found it amusing. This primitive creature actually thought he could threaten the Valthari Empire. This tiny species that had never left its own solar system thought it could stand against 3,000 warships. Pathetic, Ketsan said. His second-in-command, General Vethnar, stood beside him. Overlord, should we wait for the deadline to pass? Ketsan laughed. It was a harsh sound, like rocks grinding together. Why should we wait? These humans are bluffing. Our scouts have scanned their system. They have nothing. A few orbital stations, some old satellites, a handful of ships that look like they were built by children. They cannot stop us. But their message seemed confident, Vethnar said carefully. Perhaps we should be cautious. Ketsan turned his yellow eyes toward his general. Cautious? I did not conquer 800 worlds by being cautious. I conquered them by being strong, by being fast, by crushing my enemies before they could react. Send the advance fleet, 100 ships. Tell them to approach Earth and destroy anything that gets in their way. When the humans see our power, they will surrender. Vethnar bowed his head. As you command, Overlord. The order went out. 100 Valthari warships broke formation and moved toward Earth. They activated their faster-than-light drives and vanished into the darkness of space. Commander Trexan led the advance fleet. He was young for a Valthari commander, only 80 years old, but he had proven himself in battle many times. He had helped conquer the Thessari homeworld. He had led the attack on the Valorian colonies. He knew how to destroy. His ship, the Iron Claw, was at the front of the formation. Around him, 99 other warships followed in perfect order. Each ship was crewed by soldiers who had killed thousands of enemies. Each ship carried enough firepower to destroy a city in seconds. Time to target? Trexan asked. 4 minutes, Commander, his navigation officer replied. We will exit hyperspace near the 3rd planet, the one the humans call Earth. Trexan looked at the planet on his screen. It was covered in blue water and green land. It looked peaceful, soft, easy to break. Lock all weapons, he ordered. The moment we arrive, we will destroy their orbital stations. Then we will fire on their major cities. We will show them what happens to species that defy the Empire. Weapon systems powered up. Shields activated. The Valthari were ready for war. But then something strange happened. The ship suddenly dropped out of hyperspace. Alarms screamed across every vessel in the fleet. Trexan grabbed his armrest to keep from falling. What happened? He demanded. His navigation officer looked confused. I do not know, Commander. Something pulled us out of hyperspace. Some kind of field. Our drives are not responding. Trexan felt a cold sensation in his stomach. This was not supposed to happen. Valthari technology was the most advanced in the galaxy. Nothing could stop their hyperspace drives. Where are we? He asked. We are still in the human system, near the gas giant they called Jupiter. We are nowhere near Earth. Trexan looked at his tactical screen. His eyes went wide. They were surrounded. Massive structures had appeared from nowhere. They looked like weapons platforms, but they were huge. Each one was the size of a small moon. They hung in space, forming a perfect circle around the Valthari fleet. Where did those come from? Trexan whispered. Unknown, Commander. They were not there a moment ago. It is like they appeared from nothing. A communication signal came through. A human voice. Attention, Valthari fleet. This is Admiral Jack Morrison of the United Earth Defense Force. You have entered our territory without permission. You have come to attack our home. This was a mistake. Trexan tried to respond, but his communication systems were locked. He could not send any signal. He could only listen. For 300 years, the human continued, we have watched your empire. We have seen you destroy innocent species. We have seen you enslave billions of beings. We have seen your cruelty, your arrogance, your belief that strength gives you the right to do anything you want. We do not share that belief. We believe that all species have the right to live in peace. We believe that the strong should protect the weak, not crush them. We believe that life is precious. The weapons platforms began to glow. Energy was building inside them. Trexan had never seen anything like it. The readings were impossible. The power levels were higher than anything in Valthari history. We did not want this fight, the human said. We gave you a chance to leave. You did not take it. Now you will learn why we have survived alone in the universe for so long. Why we did not join your wars. Why we did not seek alliances. It is because we did not need them. We never needed anyone. Trexan screamed at his crew. Fire weapons, all weapons, fire everything. Nothing happened. Every system on the ship was frozen. The humans had taken control of everything. Navigation, weapons, life support. The Valthari could not even move. Your fleet will now be destroyed, the human said. There will be no survivors. This is not cruelty. This is not revenge. This is simply what happens when you threaten our children. Remember this moment. Tell your gods about it. Maybe they will understand what you did not. The weapons platforms fired. 100 ships vanished. There was no explosion, no debris, no fire. The ships simply ceased to exist. One moment they were there. The next moment they were gone. The energy from the platforms had erased them from reality itself. On the Eternal Dominion, Overlord Quetzon watched his sensors in shock. 100 ships. Gone. In less than 1 second. Overlord, Vethnar said, his voice shaking. The advance fleet, they are gone. All of them. Quetzon could not speak. He stared at his screen. The readings made no sense. There was nothing left of his ships, not even atoms. They had been completely destroyed. What did they do? He finally asked. Unknown, Vethnar replied. Our scientists cannot explain it. The energy levels were impossible. No species in the galaxy has weapons like that. No species should have weapons like that. Quetzon felt something he had never felt before. A cold feeling in his chest. A weakness in his legs. He realized what it was. Fear. For the first time in his long life, Overlord Quetzon was afraid. Another message arrived. The same human face appeared on his screen. Admiral Morrison, the old man with gray eyes. Overlord Quetzon, the human said, I see you received our message. 100 of your ships are gone. 3,000 of your soldiers are dead. This happened because you did not listen. Now I will give you one more chance. Turn your fleet around. Leave our solar system. Never come back. Do this, and you will live. Refuse, and your entire fleet will share the fate of your advance force. You have 1 hour to decide. The transmission ended. Quetzon sat in silence. Around him, his officers waited for orders. They were all afraid. He could see it in their eyes. The mighty Valthari, who had conquered the galaxy, were suddenly afraid of a single planet. 1 hour to decide. Quetzon knew he should retreat. He knew the humans were not bluffing. He had seen their power. But if he retreated now, he would be seen as a coward. The other overlords would destroy him. His career, his life, everything he had built would be gone. He had no choice. He had to attack. He had to hope that his 3,000 ships could overwhelm the human defenses. He had to believe that the Empire was still stronger. All ships, Quetzon ordered, his voice hard. Prepare for full assault. We attack in 1 hour. He just hoped he was not leading his entire fleet to death. The news of the Valthari Advanced Fleet's destruction spread quickly. Every species in the galaxy with the technology to observe the battle had seen it. Merchant ships had recorded the footage. Spy probes had captured the sensor data. Within hours, everyone knew what had happened. A primitive planet called Earth had destroyed 100 Valthari warships in less than 1 second. No battle, no struggle, just instant death. On dozens of worlds, alien leaders gathered to watch the footage again and again. They could not believe what they were seeing. The Valthari was supposed to be the most powerful military force in the galaxy. They had never lost a major battle. They had never faced a weapon they could not overcome. Until now. On Earth, Admiral Jack Morrison stood in the command center with his officers. They were watching the Valthari fleet through long-range sensors. 3,000 ships were holding position, but they were preparing to move. Jack could see the energy readings. The aliens were powering up their weapons. "They are going to attack," Lieutenant Kevin Park said. Jack nodded. "I expected this. Overlord Kethzon cannot retreat. If he goes back to his empire without a victory, his own people will kill him. He has no choice but to fight." Commander Lisa Dawson looked at the screen. "Can we really stop 3,000 ships?" "We stopped 100, Jack replied. 3,000 is not much different. Our weapons do not care about numbers. They only care about targets." The door to the command center opened. A woman walked in. She was in her 50s, with silver hair and calm eyes. This was Dr. Stephanie Cole. She was the chief scientist of the Earth Defense Project. She had spent her entire life building the weapons that protected humanity. "Admiral," she said, "I have finished the calculations. Our primary defense grid can eliminate approximately 800 ships at once. After that, we need 90 seconds to recharge. During that time, we will use secondary systems." Jack looked at her. "And those systems? Our fleet will engage. We have 200 warships ready to launch. They are not as powerful as the defense platforms, but they are more advanced than anything the Valthari have ever seen." Kevin spoke up. 200 against 3,000. Those are bad numbers. Dr. Cole smiled slightly. "You are thinking like a Valthari, Lieutenant. You believe that battles are won by whoever has more ships. That is not how we fight. Our ships do not need to destroy the enemy. They only need to disable them. Cut their power. Stop their weapons. Make them helpless. We do not want to kill 3,000 crews if we can avoid it." Lisa frowned. "Why not? They came here to kill us." "Because we are not like them," Jack answered. "That is the whole point. The Valthari destroy because they can. We only destroy when we must. If we can defeat them without killing every soldier on every ship, we will. That is what makes us different. That is what makes us better." A signal appeared on the main screen. The Valthari fleet was moving. "They have begun their attack," Kevin reported. "All 3,000 ships are advancing at full speed. They will reach our primary defense zone in 12 minutes. Jack turned to the room. "Everyone to your stations. This is what we prepared for. Remember your training. Remember what we are protecting. Our homes, our families, our future." The officers moved quickly to their positions. Jack walked to his command chair and sat down. He could feel the weight of the moment. 8 billion lives depending on him. 300 years of preparation, coming down to the next few minutes. He thought about his granddaughter, little Sophie. She was only 5 years old. She liked to draw pictures of spaceships. She had no idea that real spaceships were coming to destroy her world. Jack would not let that happen. "Open a channel to the Valthari fleet," he said. "One last message." Lisa activated the communication system. "Channel open, sir." Jack spoke clearly. "Overlord Kethzon, this is Admiral Morrison. I can see your fleet approaching. I know you believe you have no choice but to attack. I understand the position you are in. But I want you to understand something too. What happened to your advanced fleet was not a trick. It was not luck. It was a demonstration. We showed you a small part of what we can do. You chose to ignore the warning. Now you are bringing your entire fleet against us. Let me tell you what will happen." He paused, making sure every word was heard. "In the first second of this battle, we will destroy 800 of your ships. In the next 90 seconds, we will disable another 1,500. By the time 3 minutes have passed, your entire fleet will be powerless. Your soldiers will be unconscious. Your ships will be floating in space like dead fish. We will take your crews prisoner. We will treat them fairly. We will not torture them or enslave them, because that is not who we are. But your invasion will fail. Your empire will see that you lost 3,000 ships to a single planet, and everything you have built will begin to fall apart." Overlord Kefsan's face appeared on the screen. His yellow eyes were burning with anger. "You think you can scare me with words, human? I have conquered civilizations far greater than yours. I have destroyed species that were ancient when your ancestors were still living in caves. You are nothing. Your planet is nothing. I will burn your cities. I will enslave your children. I will make your species suffer for 1,000 years. Jack did not flinch. "No, Overlord, you will not, because in exactly 8 minutes, you will learn that everything you believed about power was wrong. Strength is not about how many ships you have. It is not about how many worlds you conquer. Strength is about what you are willing to do to protect the ones you love. We love our home more than you can understand, and we will defend it with everything we have." He ended the transmission. Lisa looked at him. 8 minutes. Jack nodded. 8 minutes. The Valthari fleet continued to advance. 3,000 massive warships moving through space like a wave of death. Their weapons were fully charged. Their crews were ready to kill. They believed they were about to add another world to their empire. On the defense station, technicians made final adjustments to the weapon systems. On Earth, people went about their day, not knowing that their fate was being decided in the stars above them. On the hidden human warships, crews waited for the order to launch. Dr. Cole stood beside Jack. "You know," she said quietly, "I never thought I would live to see this day. When I was young, my grandmother told me about the first contact, when we learned that the Valthari existed. When we saw what they did to the Valorians, she was so afraid. She thought it was only a matter of time before they came for us." Jack looked at her. What did she do? She became a scientist. She dedicated her life to making sure humanity would survive. She did not live to see what we built, but she helped start it. Every scientist who worked on this project did it because of people like her. People who were afraid but chose to fight anyway. Jack smiled slightly. That is what humanity does. We get afraid, then we get to work. The sensors showed the Valthari fleet entering the outer defense zone. 5 minutes to contact. All stations report ready, Kevin announced. Jack stood up. He looked at the screen one last time. 3,000 enemy ships coming to destroy his home. Primary defense grid, he said. Target the first wave. 800 ships. Targets locked, sir. Jack took a breath. Fire. The battle for Earth had begun. The weapons platforms fired. Across the solar system, massive beams of energy shot through space at impossible speed. They traveled faster than light itself. The Valthari had no time to react, no time to dodge, no time to even understand what was happening. 800 ships vanished. Just like before, there was no explosion, no debris. The ships simply stopped existing. One moment, they were charging toward Earth with weapons ready. The next moment, they were nothing. On the Eternal Dominion, Overlord Kethzan watched in horror. His tactical display showed the losses in real time. 800 ships, 24,000 soldiers, gone in the blink of an eye. No, he whispered. No, this is not possible. General Vethnar was shouting at the crew, "All ships, scatter, break formation, do not give them easy targets." But it did not matter. The Valthari ships were fast, but the human weapons were faster. The defense platforms were already charging for another shot. On the Earth Defense Station, Admiral Jack Morrison watched the battle calmly. "How long until the platforms recharge?" 87 seconds, sir," Lieutenant Kevin Park reported. "Launch the fleet, all 200 ships. Engage the remaining enemy vessels. Priority is disabling their weapons and engines. I want prisoners, not corpses." Commander Lisa Dawson sent the order. Across the solar system, human warships emerged from hidden locations. They had been waiting in asteroid fields, behind moons, inside specially designed dimensional pockets that Valthari sensors could not detect. Captain Derek Walsh commanded the lead ship, the USS Horizon. He was 45 years old, a career Navy officer who had trained his entire life for this moment. His ship was half the size of a Valthari warship, but it was faster, smarter, and carried weapons that the aliens could not imagine. "All units," Derek announced through the fleet channel, "engage according to plan. Remember, we are not trying to destroy them. We are trying to stop them. Let our actions show the galaxy who we really are." The human fleet moved like a single organism. Each ship knew exactly where to go and what to do. They had practiced this thousands of times in simulations. Now they were doing it for real. The first Valthari ship to encounter the humans was a cruiser called the Burning Dawn. Its commander tried to lock weapons on the approaching human ship. But before he could fire, something hit his vessel. Not a weapon, a signal. A pulse of energy that went through his shields like they were not there. Every system on the ship shut down. The lights went out. The engines stopped. The weapons went cold. The crew floated in darkness, unable to move, unable to communicate, unable to do anything. Then a second pulse hit them. This one affected their bodies. It was a neural frequency designed specifically for Valthari biology. Dr. Stephanie Cole had spent 20 years developing it. It put every alien on the ship into a deep sleep. Not dead, just unconscious. The same thing happened across the battlefield. Human ships darted between Valthari vessels, firing disabling pulses at incredible speed. The aliens could not hit them. The human ships moved too fast and changed direction too quickly. It was like trying to catch smoke with your hands. Overlord Kethzon watched his fleet die. Not die, he corrected himself. Sleep. The humans were putting his army to sleep, like children. It was humiliating. It was impossible. It was terrifying. "Fight back," he screamed at his crew. "Destroy them. I do not care how many ships we lose. Kill them." But his orders meant nothing. Every time a Valthari ship tried to fire, the humans disabled it before the weapons could charge. Every time a ship tried to run, the humans caught it. Every time a commander tried to call for help, the humans blocked the signal. The battle lasted 3 minutes. When it was over, the Valthari fleet was finished. Out of 3,000 ships, none were operational. Most were drifting in space, their crews unconscious. A few hundred had been destroyed by the defense platforms, but the majority were intact. The humans had done exactly what they said they would do. They had defeated the mightiest fleet in the galaxy without unnecessary killing. The Eternal Dominion was the last ship standing. Kethzan's flagship still had power. The humans had saved it for last on purpose. A human voice came through the communication system. "Overlord Kethzan, this is Admiral Morrison. Your fleet is defeated. Your soldiers are prisoners. Your invasion has failed. You have 2 choices. Surrender your ship and face trial for your crimes against the galaxy, or watch as we disable your vessel and take you by force. Either way, this ends now." Kethzan looked around his bridge. His officers were frozen with fear. His generals were silent. The power of the Valthari Empire, which had seemed unstoppable just hours ago, now felt like a joke. He thought about fighting. He thought about ordering his crew to attack until the last breath. That was what a Valthari warrior was supposed to do. That was the code he had lived by for 200 years. But then he looked at the sensor readings. He saw the human ships surrounding his vessel. He saw the weapons platforms glowing with power. He saw the absolute certainty of his defeat. For the first time in his life, Quetzan made a different choice. "Stand down," he said quietly. His voice was empty. "All hands stand down. We surrender." The bridge erupted in shocked whispers. Valthari did not surrender. In the entire history of the Empire, no overlord had ever surrendered to an enemy. But there had never been an enemy like this. Human Marines arrived within minutes. They docked their shuttle with the Eternal Dominion and cut through the airlock. The Valthari crew did not resist. They simply stood and watched as humans walked onto their ship. Sergeant Amy Chen led the boarding team. She was small by Valthari standards, barely reaching their shoulders. But she moved with complete confidence. She had her weapon ready, but did not point it at anyone. "Overlord Quetzan," she said, "you are now a prisoner of the United Earth government. You will be treated fairly according to our laws. You will have a trial. You will have the chance to speak in your defense. This is more than you gave to the species you conquered, but it is what we believe in." Quetzan looked down at the small human woman. He could have crushed her with one hand. But he knew that if he tried, her soldiers would stop him. More importantly, he knew that it would change nothing. The war was over. The Valthari had lost. "How?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "How did you build all this? How did you become so powerful without anyone knowing?" Amy met his eyes without fear. "Because we watched, we learned, and we worked together. Every human on Earth contributed to this project. Scientists, engineers, teachers, parents, children. We all knew that one day someone would come for our home. So we prepared. For 300 years, we prepared." She put restraints on his wrists. They were small, designed for humans, but they fit. Special restraints made for Valthari prisoners. They had thought of everything. "The galaxy will never be the same after today," Quetzan said. "No," Amy agreed. "It will not. But that is a good thing. The old way was broken, the strong crushing the weak, the cruel ruling the kind. That has to change. And maybe, just maybe, this is the beginning of something better." She led him off the bridge. Behind them, other Marines were securing the rest of the crew. The Eternal Dominion, the most feared ship in the galaxy, was now property of Earth. On the defense station, Admiral Jack Morrison watched the last prisoners being taken. The battle was over. Earth was safe. Humanity had won. Lisa stood beside him. "We did it, sir." Jack nodded slowly. "Yes, we did. Now comes the hard part." "The hard part?" "The galaxy knows about us now. Every species that feared the Valthari will want to be our friend. Every species that served the Valthari will want our protection. We just changed the balance of power in the entire galaxy." Lisa thought about this. "What do we do?" Jack looked out at the stars. "We do what we have always done. We protect the ones who need protection. We help the ones who need help. And we make sure that no one ever threatens our home again." The battle for Earth was over. But for humanity, a new chapter was just beginning. The news spread across the galaxy like fire. The Valthari Empire, the most powerful military force in known space, had been defeated. Not by a coalition of species, not by a massive alliance, but by a single planet, a world called Earth, home to a species called humanity. Within days, every corner of the galaxy was talking about it. Footage of the battle played on billions of screens. Sensor data was analyzed by thousands of scientists. Diplomats and leaders held emergency meetings to discuss what this meant for the future. On planets that the Valthari had conquered, the response was immediate. The Thesari, who had been slaves for over a century, rose up against their masters. The remaining Valthari forces on their worlds were too few and too shocked to resist. Within weeks, the Thesari were free. The same thing happened everywhere. The Valthari Empire had controlled 800 star systems through fear. Now that fear was gone. Species that had been too afraid to fight back suddenly found their courage. Rebellions erupted on dozens of worlds. The empire that had seemed eternal began to crumble. On Earth, humans watched these events with a mixture of hope and caution. They had won the battle, but they had not fought it to become conquerors themselves. They had no interest in building an empire. Admiral Jack Morrison stood before the United Earth Council in New Geneva. The Great Hall was filled with representatives from every nation on Earth. They had come to decide what humanity would do next. Council Chair Megan Brooks called the meeting to order. She was 70 years old, with white hair and sharp eyes. She had served on the council for 30 years, guiding humanity through the most important period in its history. Admiral Morrison, she said, please give us your report. Jack stepped forward. Madam Chair, members of the council, the battle for Earth is over. We have captured Overlord Quetzon and over 40,000 Valthari soldiers. Our casualties were 0. Our damage was minimal. The defense grid performed exactly as designed. A murmur went through the hall. 0 casualties. It still seemed impossible. However, Jack continued, we now face a different challenge. The galaxy knows about us. In the past 3 days, we have received communication requests from over 200 different species. They want to talk to us. They want to know who we are. Some want our protection, others want our technology. A few want to form alliances. Council Representative Daniel Brooks, Megan's son, raised his hand. What about the Valthari? Will they attack again? Unlikely, Jack replied. The Empire is falling apart. Without their fleet, they cannot hold their territory. Their subject species are rebelling. Their economy is collapsing. Within a year, the Valthari Empire will exist only in history books. Another representative spoke up. This was Dr. Samantha Wells, the Council's chief scientific advisor. Admiral, I have a different concern. We showed the galaxy our weapons. Every species now knows what we can do. Some might see us as a threat. They might try to develop their own versions of our technology. Jack nodded. That is possible. But our technology is centuries ahead of anything else in the galaxy. Even if they start working today, it would take them hundreds of years to catch up. By then, we will be even further ahead. Dr. Stephanie Cole, who was attending as a special advisor, added her voice. The real question is not whether others will catch up. It is what we do with our power. We built these weapons to defend ourselves. Now that we have used them, we have a choice. We can hide away again and let the galaxy sort itself out. Or we can step forward and help build something better. Council Chair Brooks leaned forward. What do you mean by something better? Dr. Cole stood and walked to the center of the hall. The Valthari ruled through fear and violence. They conquered and enslaved. They destroyed anyone who stood in their way. That system is gone now. There is a void in the galaxy. Something will fill it. If we do nothing, another empire will rise. Another cruel species will begin conquering the weak. The cycle will continue. She paused, looking around the room. But if we act, we can break the cycle. We can offer protection to species that cannot protect themselves. We can share some of our knowledge, not weapons, but science and medicine and engineering. We can show the galaxy that there is another way, a way based on cooperation, not conquest, On trade, not tribute. On respect, not fear. Every representative was thinking about what she had said. Jack spoke again. I want to be clear about something. We are not proposing that Earth rule the galaxy. We are not proposing that we become the new Valthari. We are proposing that we help. That we use our strength to protect those who cannot protect themselves. That we be an example of what a species can be when it chooses peace over power. Council Chair Brooks looked at the faces around her. She could see agreement in most of them, but she also saw doubt in some. This is a significant decision, she said. We need time to discuss it. Let us take a break and reconvene in 1 hour. The representatives rose and began talking among themselves. Jack walked outside to the balcony overlooking the city. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. New Geneva spread out below him, a city of 10 million people who had no idea how close they had come to being destroyed. Lisa found him there. What do you think they will decide? Jack looked at the sunset. I think they will do the right thing. Humans always do, eventually. Sometimes it takes us a while. Sometimes we make mistakes. But in the end, we try to be good. We try to help. Even after everything we have seen, all the evil in the galaxy, Jack turned to her. Especially after that. Because we know what happens when the good people do nothing. The Valthari happened. The enslavements happened. The extinctions happened. All because species like us stayed hidden and let the bullies win. We cannot do that anymore. We have the power to make a difference. Now we have to use it. An hour later, the council voted. The result was nearly unanimous. Earth would not hide anymore. Humanity would step onto the galactic stage. Not as conquerors or rulers, but as protectors and teachers. They would offer friendship to those who wanted it and defense to those who needed it. They would show the galaxy what humanity believed in. In the weeks that followed, the first alien ambassadors arrived on Earth. The Thessari came first, grateful and curious. They were followed by dozens of other species, each wanting to meet the humans who had ended the Valthari Empire. Jack Morrison retired from active duty. He went home to New Geneva, to his daughter and grandchildren. He had done his job. He had protected his world. Now it was time for others to carry on. On his last day at the defense station, he stood at the observation window one final time. Earth floated below him, blue and green and beautiful. The defense platforms orbited silently, always watching, always ready. Lisa joined him. The galaxy will never be the same, will it? No, Jack agreed. But that is not a bad thing. Change is how things get better. The old way was broken. Maybe the new way will be different. Do you really believe that? Jack smiled. I do, because I believe in us. I believe in humanity. We have our problems. We make mistakes. We are not perfect. But when it matters, when our families are threatened, when innocent people need help, we come together. We fight, we protect, we love. That is who we are. He looked at Earth one last time, and I think the galaxy is about to learn that. Far below, on the surface of Earth, a little girl named Sophie was drawing pictures. She drew spaceships and stars and aliens with friendly faces. Her grandfather had told her stories about the people who lived on other worlds. He said that humans were going to help them now. He said that Earth was going to make the galaxy a better place. Sophie did not understand everything he said. She was only 5 years old. But she understood one thing. Her family was safe. Her home was protected. And somewhere in the stars, there were people who needed help. She drew a picture of a human hand reaching out to an alien hand. Above it, she wrote in big, colorful letters, "Friends." Her grandfather had been right. That was who humans were. And now the whole galaxy would know it. The story of Earth was just beginning. The year was 2347. Earth was a quiet world. Humans had stopped fighting each other long ago. They had built a peaceful civilization. They had families. They had dreams. They lived their lives without knowing that danger was coming from the stars. Admiral Jack Morrison stood alone on the observation deck of the United Earth Defense Station. The station floated in orbit around Mars. From here he could see the red planet below and the endless black sky above. He was 62 years old. His hair was gray. His eyes were tired, but sharp. He had spent his whole life preparing for a day he hoped would never come. The door behind him opened. Commander Lisa Dawson walked in. She was his second in command. She was 40 years old, with short brown hair and a face that rarely showed emotion. But today, Jack could see worry in her eyes. "Sir," she said, "we have a problem." Jack did not turn around. "Tell me." "The Valthari Empire has sent a message. They are demanding that we surrender our entire solar system. They want Earth, they want Mars, they want everything. They have given us 72 hours to respond." Jack closed his eyes for a moment. He had known this day would come. For 300 years, humanity had watched the galaxy. They had seen what was out there. They had seen the wars. They had seen the conquests. They had seen entire species wiped out because they were too weak to defend themselves. The Valthari were the worst of them all. They were a reptilian species that had built an empire of over 800 star systems. They did not negotiate. They did not trade. They simply took what they wanted. Any species that resisted was destroyed. Any species that surrendered was enslaved. "How many ships do they have?" Jack asked. 3,000 warships. They are holding position at the edge of our solar system, near the Kuiper Belt. Jack finally turned around. 3,000. That is a lot. "Yes, sir. More than enough to destroy every city on Earth. More than enough to kill every human alive." Lisa paused. "At least, that is what they think." Jack walked toward the large window. He could see Earth in the distance, a small blue dot. Home. 8 billion people lived there. Children were going to school. Parents were going to work. Old people were sitting in parks, enjoying the sunshine. They had no idea that an alien fleet was about to attack them. But Jack knew something the aliens did not. "Contact Lieutenant Kevin Park," he said. "Tell him to begin Protocol Omega." Lisa nodded. She understood what this meant. "Yes, sir. Right away." She left the room. Jack stayed at the window. He thought about his daughter, Emma. She was 30 years old now. She lived in New Geneva with her husband and 2 children. He had been too busy preparing for this moment. He hoped he would see them again. 20 minutes later, Jack was in the main command center. The room was filled with officers and technicians. Giant screens covered the walls, showing maps of the solar system and the position of the enemy fleet. Lieutenant Kevin Park was at his station. He was young, only 28, but he was the best tactical officer Jack had ever worked with. His fingers moved quickly across his console. "Protocol Omega is active, sir," Kevin reported. "All defense systems are online. The grid is fully powered. We are ready." Jack nodded. He looked at the screen showing the Valthari fleet. 3,000 ships. Each one was a kilometer long. Each one carried enough weapons to destroy a small moon. The Valthari had conquered dozens of worlds, with fleets smaller than this. They expected Earth to surrender. They expected humans to beg for mercy. They expected this to be easy. They were wrong. A new message arrived from the Valthari. Lisa put it on the main screen. The face of an alien appeared. He had green scales, yellow eyes, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. This was Overlord Ketzan, the commander of the invasion fleet. "Humans," the alien said. His voice was cold and harsh. "You have received our demands. You have 72 hours to surrender your world. If you refuse, we will destroy your cities. We will kill your soldiers. We will take your people as slaves. This is not a threat. This is a promise. We have done this to many species before you. You are nothing special. You are weak. You are primitive. You will kneel before the Valthari Empire, or you will die." The message ended. The room was silent. Every officer was looking at Jack. They were waiting for his response. Jack took a deep breath. He thought about all the species the Valthari had destroyed. He thought about all the innocent people who had suffered under their rule. He thought about what would happen to Earth if he did nothing. Then he thought about what humanity had built in secret, the weapons hidden across the solar system, the technology that no alien had ever seen, the defenses that had taken 3 centuries to create. "Open a channel," Jack said. "I want to respond to their message." Lisa pressed a button. "Channel open, sir." Jack stood straight. He looked directly at the camera. He knew that Overlord Ketsan would see this. He wanted the alien to understand every word. "This is Admiral Jack Morrison of the United Earth Defense Force. We have received your demands. Our answer is no. We will not surrender. We will not kneel. We will not give you our home. If you want Earth, you will have to come and take it. But I warn you now, we are not like the other species you have conquered. We have been watching you for 300 years. We know what you are. We know what you do, and we have been preparing. Turn your ships around. Leave our solar system. Go back to your empire and never return. This is your only warning. If you attack us, you will regret it. Not because we are violent, not because we want war, but because we will do anything to protect our families. Anything." He paused. "You have 72 hours to make your decision. Choose wisely." The transmission ended. Lisa looked at Jack. "Do you think they will listen?" Jack shook his head. "No, they will attack. They always do. That is why we prepared." He turned to Kevin. "How long until our backup systems are fully charged?" 12 hours, sir." "Good. When they come, we will be ready." Jack walked back to the window. He looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, 3,000 alien warships were preparing to attack his home. They thought they were strong. They thought humans were weak. They had no idea what was coming.